so I was referring to this so-called report involving the Supreme
I
Court.
was too. And if you have a second round, I'm going to ask it again.
Well, there's
Does
no plan.
does the judge agree or disagree with the recommendations?
Senator,
I'm not really interested in how many lawyers can dance on the head of a pin.
Senator,
I'm just interested in hearing whether the judge agrees or disagrees.
Senator, you're doing the same thing that we've done when the tables were turned. Try to get these nominees to say what their personal views are, and most of them think it through and believe that they can't do that, and it makes them sound as if they don't have a personal
Well,
view.
Mr. Chairman, I think that's the purpose of the Judiciary
Well, you're
Committee.
entitled to your opinion.
Let me just finish my thought. I'm entitled to my opinion. I mean, we're confirming these nominees for lifetime appointments. They're not elected. You don't think it's relevant what they believe?
Senator John Kennedy delivers a fiery rebuke to Democrat Senator Dick Durbin during a tense Senate Judiciary Committee hearing. Watch as Kennedy demands clear answers from judicial nominees and calls out Durbin for running cover. This explosive exchange exposes the growing frustration over evasive answers and political shielding. In a heated moment that rocked the Senate Judiciary Committee, Senator John Kennedy wasn't having it. What began as a routine nomination hearing quickly erupted into a war of words when Senator Dick Durbin appeared to shield nominees from answering direct questions. Kennedy's demand for honesty clashed head-on with Durbin's defenses, and the sparks flew. Let's dive right in.
Certainly, Senator Kennedy.
Mr. Chairman, I think you mischaracterized my questions.
Oh, no, sir, I wasn't referring to you at all.
I'm glad to hear that, because my questions of the judge were, and I never got an answer, did she agree or disagree with the recommendations?
Senator, I was not referring to you at all. You've asked that question, and most nominees have given the same answer as these nominees, but it's your right to ask that question. And so I was referring to this so-called report involving the Supreme Court.
I was too. And if you have a second round, I'm going to ask it again.
Well, there's
Does
no plan.
does the judge agree or disagree with the recommendations?
Senator,
I'm not really interested in how many lawyers can dance on the head of a pin.
Senator,
I'm just interested in hearing whether the judge agrees or disagrees.
Senator, you're doing the same thing that we've done when the tables were turned. Try to get these nominees to say what their personal views are, and most of them think it through and believe that they can't do that, and it makes them sound as if they don't have a personal
Well,
view.
Mr. Chairman, I think that's the purpose of the Judiciary
Well, you're
Committee.
entitled to your opinion.
Let me just finish my thought. I'm entitled to my opinion. I mean, we're confirming these nominees for lifetime appointments. They're not elected. You don't think it's relevant what they believe?
I think you create a problem for them that jeopardizes their role as judges.
When I just ask them what they believe?
May I finish my thought?
Certainly, I apologize.
Okay, thank you very much. I think that they understand that if they start expressing their personal views, as Ms. Chung has said repeatedly, it's a forecast of the future, and they're trying their best to say law, facts, precedent, and stick with it. And I think that's what we expect of judges.
Well, I just disagree, Mr. Chairman. I think people's personal beliefs, have they thought about the world? Have they thought about the issues that are central to American democracy? I think that's perfectly appropriate. I'm surprised that no, and this isn't meant to be personal, but that you haven't directed the witnesses to answer our questions.
We asked the same question to Trump nominees and got the same response. This is a predictable course of action on this committee. We try to probe as deeply as we can, and witnesses don't always go along with the extent of our probe.
Well, recently they never do.
Well, under Trump's nominees, they never did either.
Well, I questioned them too, as you recall.
Thank you.
It is correct that I'm the co-chair of the committee that made the recommendations, but what I was trying to clarify is that there's a subgroup, there are 5 subgroups that made recommendations. During those deliberations, the co-chairs, myself and the Chief Justice, did not make recommendations. We did not identify specific recommendations for people. We didn't strike down recommendations for people. We didn't say, yes, we like those, no, we don't like the other ones. We allowed the subcommittees to create their own recommendations. We didn't change the recommendations at all as they went into the report. And those recommendations went in as is to the Supreme Court. And as the entire Supreme Court, our analysis as the Chief Justice and myself would be with the rest of the Supreme Court.
the presumption seems to be that she wrote the recommendations, and it's clear she did not. She said it repeatedly, and you won't accept it. That's just a fact. And so it is an unusual situation, but best I can determine, she gathered the information and passed it along without a vote of approval or without any scrutiny on her person.
But, Mr. Chairman, I just respectfully disagree. I don't think that's not what I asked the witness. I asked her, does she agree or disagree with the recommendations?
Well,
Forget the report.
That's another question, Senator.
But I never got an answer.
Oh, and I don't think you would from a Trump nominee either.
But we don't have Trump. I pressed a lot of Trump nominees, as you well know, and voted against a bunch of them. And they helped kill 4 or 5 that I didn't think were qualified. But I don't agree with your revisionist history, no disrespect, in the last 10 minutes. I asked the witness 4 or 5 times, do you agree or disagree? And I didn't get an answer. Now, you can call that dodging the question. If you want to, that's a little pejorative to me, but I never got an answer, and I don't think that's inappropriate for me to ask. That's the issue.
Senator John Kennedy's performance during this Judiciary Committee hearing was more than just a political moment. It was a masterclass in accountability. While others on the panel appeared content with rehearsed answers and procedural dodgeballs, Kennedy stood firm in the belief that nominees, especially those up for lifetime appointments, owe the American people more than vague legalese and carefully scripted non-responses. In a time when trust in government is at an all-time low, Kennedy's demand for clarity wasn't just appropriate, it was necessary. He wasn't asking nominees to reveal how they'd rule on a case. He wasn't asking for a partisan pledge. He was asking a simple, straightforward question: do you agree or disagree with a set of recommendations connected to your name? That's not political theater. That's a test of honesty and intellectual ownership. Senator Durbin's repeated attempts to protect the nominee from that basic level of scrutiny only made Kennedy's case stronger. Americans deserve judges who can handle direct questions. Judges who can articulate their beliefs and still apply the law impartially. Judges who understand that transparency is not a weakness, it's a cornerstone of our republic. Kennedy's refusal to let the issue slide shows why he continues to resonate with so many Americans, Democrat or Republican, who are tired of bureaucratic games and elitist double standards. He reminded the room and the country that Senate confirmation isn't a rubber stamp. It's a gatekeeping duty with profound consequences for the rule of law. In standing his ground, Senator Kennedy didn't just challenge a nominee, he challenged the entire culture of evasion that's infected judicial confirmations. He put principle above politeness, truth above optics, and substance above spin, and in doing so he proved once again, when it comes to cutting through the noise and getting to the heart of the matter, nobody does it like Senator John Kennedy. If you stand with truth, transparency, and tough questions, subscribe now and stay tuned for more moments that matter.